On September 8, 2022, Britain lost Queen Elizabeth II. Now, a reported private reading inside Buckingham Palace is said to involve Prince Andrew and the late monarch's sealed will. Royal wills are usually locked away for decades under court practice. So why would anything be read aloud now, and what rule, if any, allowed it? Questions about a sealed royal will began the moment the Queen died. Rumors grew fast, but the law stayed quiet. On September 8, 2022, Queen Elizabeth II passed away at Balmoral. After her death, attention quickly turned to her private will. But royal wills follow a special rule. They are usually sealed by the High Court, which means the document is locked and hidden from the public for many years. Sealed simply means no one outside a small legal circle can read it. This protects privacy and keeps family matters from becoming public fights. The royal household, palace lawyers, and estate managers then handle the next steps. Their job is to manage property, staff roles, and duties. They do this without showing the full will. Think about this. If the will is sealed by law, what kind of information can be shared at all? Only general guidance, not personal details. That difference is very important. Media curiosity grew because the Queen ruled for 70 years, from 1952 to 2022. Such a long reign means many assets, many rules, and many expectations. The silence was legal, not accidental. The answer may lie in how royal estate briefings are quietly handled behind closed doors. Those closed-door briefings may explain the silence. But law and palace practice are not the same. The High Court of England and Wales has a long rule about royal wills. That rule says they stay sealed for many years. After September 8, 2022, palace lawyers still had to run daily estate work. They must check homes, staff duties, and security costs. The royal household cannot pause just because a will is private. Here's the part most people miss. A sealed will blocks full details, but it does not block general guidance. Lawyers can explain duties and limits without naming gifts. This difference keeps the court rule safe. Some reports claimed that senior royals, including Prince Andrew, heard such a briefing. These accounts are reported, not confirmed by the palace. No court document shows a public reading. So what exactly can lawyers say without breaking the seal? They can outline timelines, roles, and legal limits. Think about this system as a bridge between secrecy and duty. When rumors grow, media pressure grows too. Headlines in 2024 often use strong words like reading or reveal, though those claims were alleged. The language can change how the public feels. The court rule says sealed. Palace reality says managed. Both can be true at the same time. But if this was routine, why did the meeting reportedly cause shock? Inside large institutions, even small legal notes can ripple widely. Senior advisors, the Privy Council, and communications teams often review every word. They do this to avoid breaking court practice. If any detail were shared wrongly, it could raise legal questions in the High Court. That risk makes everyone cautious. So the tension may come not from secrets, but from strict legal limits. This idea will guide the next step of our timeline. Now watch what happens next as the dates begin to line up. Next, we track the exact timeline of events that reportedly sparked the tremor. We now follow the timeline that reportedly sparked the tremor. Dates and places matter more than rumors. Reports that surfaced in late 2024 claimed a private meeting took place inside Buckingham Palace. The meeting was said to include palace lawyers and select senior royals. Among the names often mentioned in media talk was Prince Andrew. These claims are alleged and not officially confirmed. No written transcript exists. A transcript simply means a full written record of what was said. The timeline starts with September 8, 2022, when Queen Elizabeth II died. After that date, estate work would naturally continue in stages through 2023 and into 2024. Lawyers from the royal household would check duties, homes, and funding rules. That is normal legal work. It does not require opening a sealed will. Here's where tension builds. Some reports said parts of legal guidance tied to the late Queen's estate were explained during that 2024 meeting. Guidance means general instructions, not secret gifts. This is an important line. The High Court of England and Wales keeps royal wills sealed, so full details cannot be shared publicly. Only limits and duties can be outlined. Think about this moment carefully. If lawyers were only explaining boundaries, why did reports describe surprise inside the room? Was the shock about what was said, or about what could not be said? That question stays open. Media coverage used dramatic words like reading or reveal, but those terms were reported, not proven by official records. Another key detail is the lack of a court filing showing any public disclosure. Courts leave paper trails. When none appear, it often means procedures stayed private and lawful. Still, unnamed witnesses were claimed in several articles, though none spoke on record. Silence from official spokespeople kept the mystery alive. So the scene becomes clearer but still incomplete: a reported meeting, legal advisors present, and a strong court rule still in place. If no secret contents were revealed, then what truly caused the internal concern described in reports? To understand that shock, we must examine the chain reaction inside the royal system. That unanswered shock now triggers a bigger question. How does one reported meeting ripple through the whole royal system? When news touches the late Queen's estate, many palace systems react at once. The royal household reviews messages. Palace lawyers check court rules. Senior advisors may coordinate with bodies like the Privy Council to keep actions lawful and calm. This is normal governance. Governance simply means how an institution runs its rules and decisions every day. After the reported late 2024 meeting at Buckingham Palace, media coverage increased quickly. Headlines used strong words, even though the details were alleged and not confirmed. Think about this. A fast news cycle can turn a small legal briefing into a large public drama. That pressure forces communications teams to stay silent or very careful. Silence here is not proof of secrets. It is often legal protection. Here's the part most people miss. Inside large institutions, even routine legal notes can cause internal reviews. Lawyers may double-check whether any line risked breaking the high court sealing practice. Advisors might also examine how public trust could be affected. These are quiet but serious steps. They do not change the will itself. They only manage the reaction around it. Reports described cautious or concerned moods among staff. These reactions are alleged, yet they match a known pattern. When privacy law meets public curiosity, tension rises fast. Poll numbers, editorials, and public debate can grow within days. The institution then focuses on stability, not spectacle. So the real issue may not be hidden contents, but the chain reaction of rumor, law, and media pressure all moving at once. Did any actual policy or role change after this reported briefing, or was the impact mainly about perception? That loop remains open inside the system. The next chapter examines whether any practical outcomes followed the alleged reading. So, did anything actually change after the reported briefing, or was it mostly about perception? We now separate legal fact from public myth. Under English law, estate administration begins soon after a death. That means lawyers and officials check duties, properties, and schedules. This work likely started in September 2022, just days after Queen Elizabeth II passed away. The royal household and palace legal teams would manage these steps quietly. Quiet does not mean secret wrongdoing. It usually means normal legal order. Now, here is the key line. The High Court of England and Wales keeps royal wills sealed for many years. Sealed means the full document cannot be publicly shown or read aloud outside a strict legal circle. Because of this rule, no reported meeting in 2024 could legally reveal private gifts, personal messages, or detailed inheritances. That boundary is firm. It protects family privacy and national stability at the same time. Think about this carefully. A legal briefing can explain duties, but it cannot open the will itself. Lawyers may say who manages certain estates, how funding flows, or what schedules must be followed. These are operational details. Operational simply means the day-to-day running of work. They do not equal the emotional or personal contents people imagine inside a will. Reports claimed that roles, residences, or funding arrangements may have been discussed in that alleged meeting. These claims remain unconfirmed. Even if such topics were covered, they would only guide logistics. Logistics means practical planning, not inheritance secrets. This difference matters more than headlines suggest. Here's the part most people miss. Public confusion often turns a routine legal update into a dramatic reading story. Media language can amplify emotion. When audiences hear the words, "last will," they imagine a full reveal. But the law draws a clear wall. Guidance is allowed. Disclosure is not. We should also remember the scale of the Queen's reign. 70 years, from 1952 to 2022. That long rule created many estates, charities, and royal duties. Managing these requires step-by-step legal coordination across 2023 and 2024. No single meeting could suddenly rewrite those systems. Change inside large institutions moves slowly, carefully, and with many checks. Now watch what happens next. When legal limits meet strong rumors, perception can shift faster than facts. Some observers may assume something dramatic must have been said because reactions were reportedly tense. But tension can come from caution too. Lawyers often speak in strict terms to avoid any risk of breaking court practice. So the central question becomes clearer. Did the public mistake legal boundaries for hidden drama? Or did small administrative clarifications ripple outward and feel larger than they truly were? We still do not have confirmed proof of any policy change tied directly to that alleged briefing. No official court filing or palace statement lists such outcomes. This means one conclusion grows stronger. What could legally change were only operational matters, roles, schedules, and responsibilities, while what could not change were the sealed personal details of the will itself. That legal divide explains much of the tension reported in late 2024 coverage. Only by mapping the full timeline can we close the loop on what likely happened. We have seen what could change and what could not. Now we rebuild the full timeline to test what really fits the facts. The timeline begins on September 8, 2022, the day Queen Elizabeth II died at Balmoral. That date is our anchor. After any monarch's death, estate work does not stop. Instead, it moves into a long legal phase. Palace lawyers, accountants, and estate managers must review duties, homes, and budgets. This kind of review can stretch across many months, sometimes years. It is slow, careful work, not a sudden dramatic event. In late 2022 and through 2023, the royal household would likely focus on stability. Stability simply means keeping daily operations smooth while legal papers are processed. The High Court of England and Wales still holds the rule that royal wills stay sealed. That means the actual document remains hidden while legal teams handle only operational guidance. So even during 2023, no public reading of the will could legally happen. Now watch what happens next. Reports started to rise in late 2024, nearly 2 years after the Queen's death. These reports claimed a private meeting at Buckingham Palace involved legal advisors and senior royals. Among the names often mentioned in coverage was Prince Andrew. These claims were reported and alleged, not confirmed by any official palace statement or court record. That gap between rumor and record is very important. Think about this. If a meeting really happened in 2024, it would likely be part of a later stage of estate administration. Large estates move in phases: first review, then adjustment, then long-term planning. Each phase can require briefings for senior family members. A briefing does not mean revealing secrets. It often means reminding everyone of legal limits and responsibilities. This fits with how institutions like the royal household usually operate. Another detail helps us judge the rumor. Courts usually leave paper trails when big legal actions occur. No public filing has shown that the sealed will was opened or read aloud. Without such a filing, the legal boundary likely stayed intact. That does not disprove a meeting. It only suggests the meeting, if it occurred, stayed within lawful limits. Lawyers could explain duties without showing private instructions. Here's the part most people miss. The longer the time gap between the 2022 death and the 2024 rumors, the more likely the event was administrative, not dramatic. Over time, legal teams often revisit plans to confirm that estates, patronages, and funding streams match the late monarch's overall wishes. These reviews are normal in large institutions. They can feel tense because the stakes are high, but tension does not equal revelation. Media timing also matters. By 2024, public curiosity had grown strong. News cycles move fast. A single reported briefing can become a headline storm within hours. Words like last will sound powerful, even if the actual discussion focused only on logistics. Logistics simply means planning practical steps, not revealing emotional or personal secrets. This difference between language and law can reshape how audiences understand events. So we line up the sequence: death in 2022, legal administration across 2023, and a reported late-stage briefing in 2024. That sequence looks orderly, not explosive. Yet one puzzle remains. Why did some reports describe shock or concern inside the palace? Was it fear of misinterpretation, or worry about public reaction rather than the content itself? That question still hangs in the air. When we place each date in order, the story becomes less about a sudden will reading and more about a long chain of legal management. The sealed status remains. The institution continues its duties. Rumors fill the gaps left by necessary silence. Step by step, the timeline suggests process over spectacle, even though headlines suggested otherwise. The final chapter closes the loops and weighs what we can responsibly conclude. We have followed the timeline, the rules, and the reported meetings. Now it is time to separate fact from rumor. First, two things are confirmed. Queen Elizabeth II died on September 8, 2022, and royal wills are usually sealed by the High Court of England and Wales for many years. These are solid legal facts. They set the frame for everything else. Within that frame, reports about a private palace briefing, possibly including Prince Andrew and legal advisors, remain alleged and unconfirmed. That means we cannot treat them as proven. Think about this. A lawful internal briefing about estate duties is plausible, but a public reading of the will itself would break court rules. That difference explains why the palace remained silent. Silence in this case is not necessarily suspicious. It is protection of law and family privacy at the same time. Here's the part most people miss. Media language often exaggerates. Words like last will or reveal make readers imagine hidden secrets. But according to legal practice, what could have been discussed were operational matters: managing residences, clarifying schedules, or checking funding streams. These matters keep the monarchy running. They are not the personal contents of the Queen's sealed will. Public debate continues. Some people interpret rumors as evidence of hidden drama. Others see them as misread legal procedures. Both reactions shape perception. The institution prioritizes stability, not headlines. Now watch what happens next. The most responsible conclusion is that reported meetings likely involved routine estate management, not a dramatic disclosure of secrets. Legal boundaries were respected, and the sealed will remained intact. Your judgment closes the final loop on this palace mystery. The story of the Queen's sealed will shows how law, duty, and public perception can collide. From September 8, 2022 to late 2024, the sequence likely involved careful legal administration. The High Court's rule kept the document private. Reports of private briefings, including claims about Prince Andrew, remain alleged. Rumors and headlines created drama, but the real story was probably process over spectacle. Internal briefings ensure the monarchy functions smoothly while respecting legal limits. The tension reported in 2024 likely came from perception, not secret revelations. Royal estate management is complex. It spans years, involves multiple advisors, and respects strict court rules. The public sees only part of the story. Silence does not equal secrecy. It often equals lawful discretion. Headlines can mislead, but understanding the legal and institutional context gives clarity. Or do you think sealed royal wills help protect privacy, or do they encourage more rumors? Should internal estate briefings ever be publicly explained to prevent speculation? Did media coverage exaggerate routine legal procedures in this case? Subscribe to follow clear, fact-checked royal timelines explained step by step.